Oh, that's bad. What are y'all doing?
You know, pushing your broke junk out.
Hey, it's not junk, it's beautiful. It's just broken.
It's broken beautiful.
Turn the power on and turn the power steering on.
Oh yeah!
Power steering works.
Woo! I heard it leak through my hole.
Yeah, just a little bit. Not bad though.
Hey, is it the light switch?
Everything out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the light switch.
Give it a second. She's got to warm up.
Got boot up.
It's spooling.
Oh. You gotta spool your power steering pump.
Yeah, you hear it coming online?
Push!
And stop. All right, we're gonna get this thing in the shop and take it apart. So I don't know how I managed it, but I was almost parallel with the wall, and it's like that grabbed a hold of it and just turned her in towards the wall, and it would not get off the wall. So I may have to do something there to help me not do that next time. But let's see what we can see. Oh boy.
It's air cooled.
Here, hold that.
Oh no! A very big catastrophe has befallen me.
It's funny because it actually still has water in it. It didn't put water everywhere, but it is missing some stuff. All right, there's a piece of the connecting rod. Whew. Actually, you want to get a magnet?
Yeah.
Well, I can see the rod is still bolted to the crankshaft. It's just snapped off. Oh, there's possibly 2 rods broken. I don't know. Alrighty, well, we are back on Monday morning after Thanksgiving. Feeling it in the gut a little bit, but it's a pretty good weekend, you know? Time off with the family. Hope you all had a great time with your family. But we're back, and we're gonna tear the motor out of this thing today. So, actually, I've got to go out and get my driver's license updated. But CJ's about to be here, and he's gonna start pulling this thing out. And one of the biggest questions that everybody asks about, oh, that's gonna be hard to work on with that header on there. Well, what we're gonna show you in this video, in the time lapse, is it takes all of about 10 to 15 minutes to take these headers off of here. Take these 2 bolts out, unplug the O2 sensor, collector pulls off, and then it's just, each tube comes out individually. It really doesn't take that long to take off. So, there's some new things too that I didn't see. That, yeah, you might have seen in the earlier video. Maybe you saw it in the earlier video, but down there, right above that nut, that's the motor mount. See that shiny thing sticking out of the block right there? Yeah, that's a wrist pin. You know, that's not where that's supposed to go, in case you guys were wondering. You know, normally wrist pins are connected to the pistons, and the connecting rod kind of ties all that stuff together. So something has happened where that wrist pin has uninstalled itself from the piston. There's my alarm to go get my driver's license. So I'm gonna go do that, and TJ's gonna start pulling the motor out, and then I'll be back to help him. And I think the motor is so locked up, we're actually gonna have to pull the engine and transmission to be able to get it out without tearing anything up. So stay tuned and we'll see what happens. Well, she's out, and you can see we had to pull the transmission out along with it because we cannot turn the engine over. You know, that's kind of a problem when you blow up a motor so bad you can't turn it over. And as you can maybe see, it's blown up pretty bad. Like, there's our wrist pin, new location. I have to figure out what is going on. Oh, geez, that's a main cap right there. Got a few pieces in the oil pan. So I think what I'm going to do from here, wow, it's busted all the way up to there. I think what I'm going to do from here is snatch the heads off, and then we'll lift her back up and take the oil pan off so that we can hopefully remove the debris to then spin the engine over to get the converter and the flex plate off. And I hope the cylinder heads are salvageable. You know, even if I've got to weld them up a little bit, that's fine. I should have maybe taken the spark plugs out once I got the engine out of the car, because they all came out perfect except for this one. And you can see it kind of folded over the strap. The threads were good until I backed out the spark plug out of the hole. But I mean, she was looking pretty good. Like that. All other 7 plugs look about like that. This one's wet because it was in the cylinder that deleted the piston. This was actually in the next, I think this was out of number 6. I mean, shoot, I can reuse those suckers. So, let's blast the cylinder heads off of it, take off all the other usable stuff, and see what else we can see once we take the oil pan and the cylinder heads off. A little more time lapse. Here we go. All right, so no music over this time lapse because it turned out to be a pretty short time lapse of just getting the cylinder heads off, and then I actually go back to live here while we're assessing some of the damage. And I gotta say, this is the worst that I have ever destroyed an engine. Maybe not the most expensive failure that I've had, but certainly the most destruction I think I've ever had with any engine in any vehicle that I've been a part of. So kind of an unfortunate realization, but that's the way things go with race cars. And no, you're not supposed to be able to reach your hand through the cylinder and go all the way down to the bottom end of the engine. That's not normal. So let's look at some of the damage in real time. Well, the good news is, I think we may be able to salvage the cylinder heads. This right here is not something you're supposed to be able to do, though. Ah, don't go down. It's supposed to come up. Well, I thought I was going to be able to pull the piston out. Or what's left of the piston. So yeah, you can kind of, that's the top part of the big end of the rod. That's where it went onto the crankshaft, which it doesn't look like it spun the bearing first. We'll be able to look and tell more of that once we get it out. The small end of the rod, the wrist pin, one of the wrist pins. That's actually got pretty heavy wall wrist pins in it for stock. Piece of piston. She's a little wounded. Well, we've already drained the oil. That's such a great noise. Hey, there's a rod bolt. Oh, yeah, it's as it falls off, there's more and more pieces that fall out. All right, well. And I think I need a hammer. Yeah, this is in the disassembly manual. Yeah, for sure. got it. Yeah, we got some chunks in. Oof. We'll just put that in there for now. Shoo, buddy.
Wow.
Well, there's a piece of piston. Yeah, I see why I can't turn it over. 1, 2, 3 broken connecting rods. Wow.
Oh man, that was spun all the way around.
That, I believe, is a piece of rod. All right, well, it's time for lunch. And after lunch, we'll see if we can actually take this thing apart. And I'll give you a close-up view of it.
3 hours later.
All right, well, let's look at things. There's a lot of things in places they're not supposed to be. I think this is probably why it won't turn over, because this is wedging that piece of connecting rod. There's a piston. Where's something to push on the extension or something? Cool, remove that piston. There's no piston in that hole. All right, well. There's a piece of block stuck in the aluminum right there. There's our wrist pin. I think we'll probably have to beat that out with a hammer. Pick out all the pieces and see if we can get this thing to turn over. There's a piece of piston skirt. Yeah, that's not supposed to be like that, but oh, there's a piece of piston with a wrist pin. Just not much of any of it left. Oh, crank definitely wounded from catching this piece of connecting rod. But looking at the journal where it's not damaged, definitely don't think that it spun a bearing or anything first. I think we just pulled the wrist pin out of the bottom of the piston, or we hurt the piston from detonation and then. Which, you know, this was a completely stock rod, stock piston. You can see what's left of them down in there. Stock piston engine. And yeah, we'll see if we can take her apart the rest of the way. Most likely the camshaft is hurt, as are most of the lifters, I would imagine, which they were just LS7 factory lifters, you know, $150 set of lifters. Nothing super special there. But we're going to see how much of this we can save. The cylinder heads, this one, just a little bit of damage. That actually, if we have this head skimmed, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll probably take the valves out and make sure the valves aren't hurt, because I can see where a couple of them did contact the piston. This cylinder head, though, she might need a little bit of welding. But these cylinder heads I did port, and you can kind of see down in the spark plug hole that I wounded it a little bit. So we're going to have to possibly do something there. It's kind of a bummer. But I did do some porting on these, which you can't tell. But I did some porting in behind there, and I was actually looking at the dyno file the other day, and this thing actually made like 359 wheel horsepower on motor. That was before I pulled a couple of degrees out of it just so it would hopefully be happy and live for a longer period of time, which, I mean, 2 years of what we do to this thing, for it being a stock bottom end engine. I mean, like I said in the videos, the previous videos, it didn't owe me anything. So we'll take it apart, see if we can salvage some things out of it, and build something that maybe will live a little longer. So let's take her apart the rest of the way. And we'll show you some more stuff. All right, well, here's the final look at the destruction. Not much salvageable from this one. Obviously, the block is not salvageable. The crankshaft, where'd the crankshaft end up? Oh, it's over there. It's got some damage to it. The camshaft actually, I guess, got wedged and shoved forward in the block and broke the retainer plate. None of that's good. Kind of cool thing to see though, like, I mean, those were the stock bearings and they still look really good. One of the main caps was broken. The oil pump ingested some of the mess, so it's junk. But like, I mean, considering all that we put this motor through, some of the stuff was doing okay, like the bearings and stuff. So I kind of think that if we were to build one of these with like a good rod and piston in it, maybe we'll get 4 years out of it. So it's probably what we're gonna do. And unfortunately, this was an aluminum block, so that's kind of a bummer that we killed one of the factory aluminum blocks. One less, which I think this was just a Gen 3 aluminum block. It wasn't one of the really good ones like we use for our stock block combination for Soccer Mom. But I think that's gonna wrap up this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the carnage. My wallet did not enjoy the carnage, unfortunately. But that's part of this racing stuff, right? And thanks for watching, because that helps me pay for some of this damage. So anyways, see you guys next time.